And joining me now for more on this decision, former prosecutor, Fox News legal analyst Lise Wheel, and Dr. Sreedhar Potarazu, who is joining us as well from San Francisco. Thank you both for being here. Let me start with you, Doctor, your immediate reaction.
This is great news, Lou, in terms of the impact that this mandate and the law have in the crisis that this country is currently facing. And if this gives momentum for us to repeal the law, then all the more better for this country. $1 trillion for a law that represents about 25% of what S&P wanted in terms of debt reduction. And it's time we put the brakes in every shape or form to stop this train from completely colliding and putting the country's economy and the world's economies in turmoil. Forcing this mandate and forcing individuals to buy insurance is no different than forcing people to buy a bond that has no value. The American consumer has been sold that by getting coverage, that will take care of everything through this mandate, and that is far from the case. The law is underfunded, and when the truth comes out in terms of the real cost, we will be in an even greater debt crisis than where we're sitting today and the turmoil that this country is facing.
You know, as the doctor is saying, Lisa, I mean, already we know that unlike what the president had promised, that premiums are rising, they're not declining. Unlike what the president promised, we are seeing overall the cost of health care in this country rising, not declining. That is one of the, if you will, secular issues, but within the court system itself. The rights of individuals are just obliterated by an individual mandate that requires them to buy a product they don't wish.
Right, but you're jumping ahead a little bit, and I think...
Well, let me do that.
All right. What's really important about today is that it set up a split between the circuits. That means the Supreme Court now can jump in and take it. They have not wanted to take it before, precisely because individuals, there's no one individual that they can point to, the Supreme Court can point to and say, you've been harmed. Therefore, they could say before today, it's not, the issue is not right. But now, because you've got the 6th Circuit and the 11th Circuit saying completely opposite things, the Supreme Court can say, there's a split, we're going to take this important issue.
But as you say, Attorney General Alan Wolfson said he doesn't believe that they will take the court up until the latter part of the next year. That is, at some point next year.
Right.
Americans have got to be getting pretty sick and tired of a court system in which there is rightness, in which there is this nonsense about jurisdiction, which are in fact artifices designed for the convenience of the legal system,
they are the letter
not
of the,
for bringing
I understand.
justice.
They are the letter of the law, though. A case has to be ripe, and the court has to have jurisdiction. It now has jurisdiction, and I do believe it's ripe, and I think the Attorney General made the point, as you have as well, that governments are building up. They are spending money. People are being hurt.
There absolutely are. And why is it? There seem to be two areas, well, there are actually three areas in this country that seems to have granted themselves immunity from the necessity for competitiveness, efficiency, and productivity.
What are those?
They are education,
right.
They are government, and they are our legal system. And don't you think it's about time somebody came to their senses and said, American citizens, by the way, deserve speedy justice and resolution?
Criminal defendants deserve speedy trial under the Sixth Amendment. I mean, they get their trial in a criminal court.
And what do they get?
They get, well, what do you mean? They get a speedy trial. But anyway, I do think, though, the Supreme Court is worried about this, the political backlash, which is after Bush v. Gore and that election and the Supreme Court being faulted for handing the election to Bush, that they don't want to step into any big issue too quickly. This split in the circuits today that came about by the gets them there. They can step in now and take it before the end of the term.
Doctor, the impact as far as you are concerned, both on the aspects, the competitive aspects of the private sector, as well as medical care. I mean, I don't know why we should even consider the patient and medical care here. This, after all, is Obamacare. That should be absolutely subsumed by any consideration for a government program. What are your thoughts?
It's interesting, Lou, because the basis for the mandate was a push by the insurance carriers so that they could sustain taking on all of the individuals with pre-existing conditions. And the reality was that costs should come down. But what's happening is you have insurance companies creating monopolies. They are buying up hospitals and hospital systems so fast in the last few months that they're actually reducing competition and creating a mechanism of actually raising rates, so that while the administration said at the outset that the whole idea of creating a mandate was to give people insurance to release the burden on taxpayers, they have created an entirely different dynamic that they never talked about and was never anticipated. We have fueled insurance companies with greater leverage and less competition that will be impossible to unravel, and now a greater burden on the states as well as the individual taxpayer. And I think you raise an important point in terms of timing, because there are hundreds of millions of dollars that are already going out the door for empowering and funding the states to put in place the infrastructure for these exchanges. And where is that money going to go? I mean, we have to get this spending under control.
That would be lovely in nearly every respect. Lise, the politics of this, 2 Democrats and a Republican appointed judge in this decision.
In the 11th Circuit,
the three judge panel in the 4th Circuit. All Democratic appointees.
All Democrats. Now, what they can ask for, depending on how that decision comes out, is an en-banc review where all of the judges, and they're equally Republicans and Democrats in the Virginia.
That en-banc sounds pretty fancy. What does it really mean?
It means all of the judges in the circuit. All of them. Get them all in there.
I like that en-banc
Bring in the pizza.
Stuff.
The en-banc on the pizza.
Thanks very much.
You got it.
Appreciate it. Doctor, thank you so much.